Night of the Living Stench, Chapter 1, The Smell of Death. The end didn't come in fire, it didn't come in the thunder of bombs or the silence of famine. It came with the smell. At first, it was just a nuisance, that reek that followed the first wave of the dead. Cities full of shambling bodies, skins sliding off bone, bellies bloated and leaking. Streets became shallow graves. People said it was normal, that this was what happened when millions died all at once. But weeks went by, corpses never stopped shuffling. They didn't collapse, dry out, or even stay dead. They rotted in infinite decay. And the smell got worse, crept into brick and steel, into flesh, into lungs. The rot had no mercy. Survivors wore anything they could tie across their mouths. Scarves, rags drenched in alcohol, filters torn from broken air conditioners. None of it lasted long. The stench oozed through every material, invisible fingers slipping down throats. Breathing was like swallowing knives dipped in infection. One too deep gasp and blood bubbled up the windpipe. A moment too long without covering, your lungs curdled into mush. You joined the dead. Lily tightened her scarf around her face. It was already drenched, stained dark from hours of filtered breathing. Her green eyes watered as she stumbled through the wreckage of the street, one hand dragging Ronald before her. "Move!" she hissed. "They're behind us." Ronald, heavy-set and trembling from exhaustion, pulled Charlie along by the arm. The boy's sneakers scraped on broken glass as he struggled to keep up in his tiny frame. Behind them, Roz hobbled with a spear made from a snapped broom handle and a kitchen knife duct-taped to the end. Beatdown huffed along in the back, wheezing like an asthmatic. A burly brute who had spent his life fighting, his arms were a tapestry of scars from a dozen street scraps. He used to look like a monster, unstoppable. Now his bulk was slowing him down, his scarf wet with spit and dangling below his mouth. And then there was him. Death-defy, silent as a wraith, always at the back, always watching. He wore a mask of iron, pitted and scarred from years of oxidization, cobbled from something that had probably once been industrial. Holes in the metal leaked his breath, if he even breathed at all. In one hand he carried a machete black with rust. The other hand held nothing at all. He didn't stumble or sweat. He walked like the toxic wind was nothing but fresh air. They ducked into a narrow alley, boots crunching on bones. Behind them, the moan of the dead built like a tide. Dozens shuffled after them, their bodies puddles of pus and intestines. Eyes melted down to bloody holes, mouths open and reeking of hunger. The worst part wasn't the sight. It was the smell. The air thickened, sour and wet like they were breathing through rotten meat. Charlie coughed and spat blood onto the pavement. "Don't stop!" Lily snapped. Beatdown suddenly collapsed, dropping to one knee. He sucked down the rot too deep, his chest heaving like a bellows. His scarf slid off completely. "Help him!" Roz screamed. It was too late. The smell ate him from the inside out. His coughs became wet choking, his lips splitting as blood and black slime poured from his mouth. His eyes popped red with ruptured vessels. He clawed at his throat, fingernails ripping through skin as if trying to pull the rot from his own windpipe. Each new gasp was like grinding meat in a blender. Then his lungs gave out. They collapsed with a wet popping noise, disgorging ribbons of gore from his mouth and nose. Beatdown toppled forward, body jerking, skull snapping against the pavement. The others screamed. Charlie buried his face in Ronald's chest. Lily wanted to reach for him, but the boy's body was already bloating, the stink coming from him tenfold. The rot was taking him, right there, right in front of their eyes. Beatdown jerked once more, blood bubbling from his mouth in wet bubbles. His head lifted, lips split and slick with red. A rattling moan crawled from his throat. He was gone, and he was coming back. "Run!" Lily screamed. They burst from the alley and into the open street. Night wind carried more of the rot, swirling it around like an invisible fog. Somewhere in the distance, a church bell clanged, its rope yanked not by human hands but by a dead man with no skin left on his fingers. The sound called more of them. Dozens became hundreds. "Here!" Roz screamed, pointing to a squat stone building across the square. A church, its stained glass windows cracked but still catching the firelight from the burning city. They ran, stumbling, coughing, retching, until they heaved open the massive doors and collapsed inside. The air was no better within, but at least for now it was theirs. And outside, the smell pressed in closer.